Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name's Luke, and put your hands together for a previous guest on the show, but it's been a couple years. Brittany Sunshine Bickhart. Brittany, welcome back to the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me back.
It is so great. A lot has happened. The last time you were on the show, it was before your first MMA fight. Now you are 5 MMA fights in. You're on a 4-fight MMA winning streak, and we're going to jump right in with that. Your last fight back in January was for a belt out of the Ohio Combat League, and you won it January. You really kicked off 2023 in style, January 7th. Walk us through that fight. Big win to you, and you are now champion. So I should have introduced you as champion Sunshine Brittany Bickhart. Talk us through that fight.
Well, that was the hardest fight to date for me, for sure. Sarah Flowers was, I knew going into it, a very tough opponent. She was undefeated. I mean, if you just look at her, I don't know if you got a chance to look at her, but she's built, looking strong. So she's definitely, she was definitely a very, very hard fight. That was a first fight that I feel like after I went through it, I felt like I went through a fight. It was just an ultimate battle. So getting the belt meant that much more than just kind of like walking out and maybe like you win in the first round via choke or knockout or whatnot. But like that was one that really tested me, and like I really dug deep mentally going through it. And I'm just, when they called my name for the win, it was like an unbelievable feeling.
I'm sure it was, and really a battle like that for the belt. Like you mentioned, your opponent, Sarah Flowers, was 4-0, undefeated at the time. Her nickname is She-Hawk, and the photos I've seen of her, she lives up to that nickname. So it's actually great. It sounds like you learned quite a bit about yourself being pushed like that. And what would you say is sort of the moment that you take away? Was it your name being read? Was it some moment in the fight? Because this was a 9-minute fight, so a lot of moments in the fight there.
I didn't know I won until my name was read. Like I had an idea that I thought I won. I got 3 takedowns. I was able to like get it to the ground and like do some ground and pound, and then hit some like nice strikes. And when we ended the 3rd round, I landed a couple good strikes. So I knew that most of the time I was in like a dominant position, or I was the one that initiated a dominant position. However, the big kicker was that had everybody kind of like really nervous and made myself nervous is during the 2nd round, I was in a triangle choke for like 2.5 minutes. So she definitely won that round. And, everything I did, she countered with perfectly. So, I mean, that's where it was just kind of like a lot of back and forth. So I was like, I feel like I won. I got the takedowns. I landed some good strikes, significant things. She just like put me in a triangle choke that I got out of. So I was hoping I won, but I wasn't sure until they called my name.
Sure. And a back and forth fight will do that. And it sounds like you neutralized her biggest weapon. You actually started out years ago. We met back in Allentown, Pennsylvania. You were out of a kickboxing gym back then. You were focusing on kickboxing. You've since come out to Pittsburgh. And then I kind of came out a couple years after that. You've been training at Stout Muay Thai. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Stout BJJ. Okay. Although they do everything. I don't want to get the name wrong. I was just thinking Muay Thai. My setup question was, you start off in Muay Thai. Now you're truly the definition of well-rounded. What's it been like finding a home at Stout BJJ? They happen to be the reigning gym of the year for 247 Fighting Championships. They just recently announced that. And your coaches, Mike Wilkins and Coach Will, are also the reigning coaches of the year, really just showing that they're doing such a great job. So what's it been like training out of them? And what's your confidence level now surviving something like a really tough triangle for 2.5 minutes? That's a submission that in many ways would have just been easier to tap. Obviously, that's not what you did. You fought your way out of it. So where's your skill level compared to when it was before you got out to Pittsburgh?
Wow. So my skill level for sure, and just like my confidence and who I am as a person has just totally like changed and leveled up, definitely. As you know, and I know you know Mike, and then Will, obviously, like through the past fights, you've probably got to know, they are just incredible. I've had other coaching, and I know what other coaching is like, and they're, especially them in the corner, they're like absolute professionals and how they work together. And both of their minds work perfectly, like for a fight, at least for me. That's what I find. And then they've just helped me become someone that I never thought I could become. I like had a dream of going pro and maybe like making this my full-time job when I moved here. And I remember coming and seeing Stout, and I did an open mat to like see if I wanted to sign up. I remember I called a friend and I was like, this is a place that I could like make it happen. And actually making it happen now is totally surreal. And you know, I was like starstruck by like Mike the first time I met him at an in-house tournament like years back before I even moved to Pittsburgh. So like to have someone like of that level be my coach, and then and like a friend and a mentor, same as Will's skill set is like beyond belief. His knowledge with the game and his knowledge with striking and everything is just truly, truly amazing to me. Like I'm not just like blowing smoke. Like it is absolutely insane. So I'm totally blessed, and I'm completely like you've watched me grow as a fighter and saw me before my first MMA fight before I took it, and even before that one. Like I am just such a different person now, and going through that last fight. So a key point, like from my first fight with CFFC, and I ended up losing. I know I didn't during the fight push it to that like gritty, like to win the fight. It was a close fight, and I know I didn't like deep down like push it as hard as I could have. That stuck with me for a really long time. So then when I was in the triangle choke, I remember thinking like, you're gonna hate yourself for months if you tap right now. Like you're literally gonna hate yourself for months if you tap to this. Just hold on a little bit longer. So just kind of everything, that loss, moving out to Pittsburgh, you know, having them as my coaches, my teammates. I mean, I am just completely leveled up from before.
And that's a great shout out to your hard work and testament to your work ethic, as well as you've given a glowing review. I've heard great things about the gym. I always say on this podcast, I'm sure Coach Mike has gotten tired of it, but I knew him back when he was a freshman at Waynesburg University. I was his track and field coach. So I love the fact that, you know, he's a legend in MMA in his own right as a fighter, and now as a coach, he's making another real impact on the sport. You've mentioned a couple times, and I'm thrilled to see kind of where his journey has taken him. But you mentioned a couple times that you're ready to level up, and a big goal of yours has been to go pro. So where are you with that? What's in your sights as far as what's next for you, as far as whether or not you go pro next off this big, really tough win against a formerly undefeated, really pro level caliber fighter in her own right, your last opponent?
Yeah, so the next step that we're looking at after talking with Mike and Will is we're looking for me to go pro probably around summertime. Had some dramatic changes to my everyday life. I recently quit my career as a state parole agent to pursue this full time, and just really, it's like the corny saying, I'm chasing my dream. And I really did that. It was probably the scariest thing I've ever done, but I know I have them backing me, and that shows how much they believe in me too, because they were really for me doing it, and they really encouraged me to do it, and they thought it was a good idea. So yeah, so the next step is going pro. Hopefully around the summertime we can find a good promotion, maybe 247, little hometown fight. I haven't not been able to do that yet. Since I started MMA, I usually kind of travel, so that would be great to get everybody out for that fight. But wherever I land, the next step is pro.
Well, that is super exciting. I remember us on the show talking about you being a state parole agent. So that is incredible that you made that decision to go full-time in your career, which makes a lot of sense given that you're transitioning from amateur to pro. You've got the support of your coaches in the gym. I always like Jim Mooney's the head matchmaker for 247. I always like to kid him that I like to make his job easy, because on this show sometimes fighters ask for fights or match fights. So I'll make sure that he knows that you want to fight. They do have a card coming up both in April, which is already matched, but the July card is a huge card that I know they've already announced the date, I believe, and it'll be a big fight, and it'll give you an opportunity. Hopefully, Jim agrees with me. They're able to bring you on for your pro debut, which would be very exciting for me to be cage side to watch your pro debut. Would be awesome for me. So you're in this transition period. What's it like now creating a schedule for your training? You used to have to train around your job, obviously, and a state parole agent has a lot of flexible hours and a lot of stress in itself. So what's it like now being like fully focused, and how has that affected what you're able to do training, particularly over the next 3 to 4 months going forward?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a dream come true because I'm like, training is what I love to do. I would do it even if I didn't fight. And it doesn't really feel a lot like work. So mentally, I've just been happier. I mean, if you got to kind of do like what you do for your hobby, just for fun, it's like what I do for a job now. So it's truly unbelievable. Sleep is a huge thing. If you knew me like before, it's kind of like a walking zombie. I mean, I would get up at like 4:30 in the morning every day, and I would wrestle before work, and then I would go to work all day, and then I would go train for a couple hours at night, and I just repeat it the next day, and it just got to be a lot. It was a lot. I was stretched very thin, and it really affected my training because at the end of the night, when I'm here for my hard practices, I wasn't able to give it my all. So now I'm able to just rest, find good training during the day. I have time to, travel and train. So it's truly like I feel like a different person. Honestly, I kind of feel like rejuvenated, being able to mainly sleep is the biggest thing.
Well, when years ago, what was it, in '08? I mean, we're going way back. Michael Phelps set the record of the number of gold medals won in one single Olympics. And I remember them saying that he was sleeping between, I think, 10 and 12 hours a night. It was some incredible number, but they were talking about biologically, in order to perform at your best, and of course that's what you're looking for, particularly at the pro level, sleep really becomes medicine. Sleep becomes part of your recovery process. So it is, I'm sure, a huge load off your stress level to be able to prioritize sleep. And I think several other high-level athletes have really talked about how important a sleep schedule is and being very fixated on that. So I'm thrilled that you're transitioning to this next part of your career. It's really exciting because I got to talk to you at the very beginning, really before even your MMA career, when you're a kickboxer, and now that you're going in the future into your pro career. So for you, what's, besides the change in schedule, what's it like being that mindset of a pro? You're coaching, I believe you coach. Is that something that's part of your journey to develop yourself and also to give back? Like, what's it like now knowing that this is your full-time career?
Puts a little more pressure, actually a lot more pressure. And the fact that I like quit my job for it is like but there's I guess if like you ever have a time, and I'm still new to it. I've only been doing it for like a month now, about going pro and what's it called? Quitting my job and doing this full time. But it's like anything that I thought about, maybe I'm not going to do that today. Maybe I won't do that drill, or maybe I won't go to that class. I'm like, I'm going to go to that class. I'm going to do that drill because this is what I have now. Like, it's that extra, like, it really matters now. I'm going to start like really finding the details and things. There's no more, oh, it's amateur and, you're learning. It's like, no, I want to know this and I want to understand it. There's that kind of like urgency now when I'm training and when I'm going to classes, and because it's kind of like I did put all my eggs in one basket now. So it's a little bit more pressure, but that pressure will make me better because it's like for a huge reason.
Well, and part of that pressure, as you pointed out, it's also allowing you that opportunity to do the extra classes and have the extra time, and to be at like a night class, like you were saying, and not have to worry about what time you're going to get up, or the fact that you had a job with its own, which is a great career and a great opportunity to give back and help people transition through the criminal justice system. I mean, we need really great parole agents and probation officers, but at the same time, that came with its own stress level. So I'm glad you're able to kind of focus in and use your off time to really be off, as opposed to being at another full-time job. So I think it's very exciting. I can't wait to see kind of what the next 3 or 4 months brings for you. If this is a month in and you're already feeling so much better and different, higher level. Your brain also obviously focuses better when you're rested. So I'm super, super excited. Let's get to what I hope is a growing part of your career, which is a sponsor list, people that are sponsoring you, obviously the gym, whatever shout outs you need to give or want to give. And if you don't have a lot of sponsors, even if you do, this is a shout out for me, for all the people out there, the small business owners, or really anybody that wants to sponsor a fighter. I think it makes a big difference in their career. Obviously, this is now your focus. So let's get to that, because that's a big part of you going from amateur to pro.
Yeah, for sure. The sponsor thing was definitely something I didn't have mental space to like reach out to a bunch of people before, because I really was just like, I'll just fight and that's what I'm going to worry about now. So the sponsor is definitely much appreciated. It's something I'm going to drive to do, you know, represent Pittsburgh, small businesses. I'm all about it. I love supporting a business and then rep them when I do fight. So any sponsors out there, hit me up. And then also just like shout outs, of course, you know, my coaches, Mike and Will, all the coaches at Stout, there's like so many to name. They really changed my life, especially Mike and Will. They really have done a lot for me in ways that I couldn't even imagine. Warren Stout, I mean, we train in his great gym. All my teammates, we're kind of like a family. Like we're really coming together and we're really all leveling up. I mean, I'm sure, as you can see, like Lucas just winning his previous fight, and like everybody's just killing it. And you know, say the fight doesn't go their way, like they went out there and did their thing, and it's usually a close fight. So we have just a really good group of killers. I'm really excited to keep it going. We cross train a lot with the Mat Factory, so I gotta shout out them. Isaac, he's a crazy good person. I love training with him. I love going to his gym, and he welcomes me with open arms, allows me to train there. So just kind of like everybody in my life, my friends and family, of course, my girlfriend, because this is a very hard sport to be with someone with, especially when I was working full time and training. Really don't have time for anything. So it's always amazing to me if someone can stick around for that. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm truly blessed. I'm very happy to be where I'm at.
Well, I'm happy that you're happy. Your nickname is Sunshine, and it sounds like you're able to be a little bit more sunshiny now that you're more focused, more recovered for personal stuff, for life stuff. You know, with what you were doing job-wise and training-wise, it didn't really give you room to sleep, much less to have a personal life. So I'm thrilled things are going. You mentioned, obviously, Isaac Greeley, it just won his own BJJ main event match himself. So you're talking about really the best of the best in Pittsburgh. Super exciting to have you on the show. And congratulations, you're the champ, you know, so that's awesome that you were able to push yourself against that undefeated opponent that we talked about in your last opponent, but also that you're set up to represent Pittsburgh going forward. You're really bringing Stout BJJ, which is, you know, that and the Mat Factory you mentioned, some others, are really the heartbeat of MMA in Pittsburgh. So I'm just thrilled for you, and hats off to all the people that you didn't get a chance to mention. Hopefully the next time you're on the show, you'll have a long list of sponsorships, and that's something that, you know, that can help you, because that's part of the process. It's never fun. But I think it is exciting that now that you'll have some clear space. Hopefully people watch this, reach out to her. I contacted her through Facebook Messenger, so you can too. But okay. No, hopefully you'll get that up and running. I appreciate you coming on the show, and I wish you the best going forward. And thanks so much for
Thank
coming
you so
on
much.
the show. You're the best. You've been listening to Luke Mason with Sunshine, Brittany Bickhart. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you.